Hi there, I'm Pico. Welcome to another Django tutorial where we learn by coding. In this video, we'll be giving our users the ability to add movies to their movie lists. We'll also be providing our users with feedback so that they know if the movie was successfully added to the list. Along the way, we'll be learning so many important concepts, such as how to use one of my favorite things about Django, which is Django ORM, to query the database, and how to use HTMX to asynchronously update our page and dynamically handle forms. We'll also learn about conditional rendering in our templates and about passing parameters to views from templates via URLs. And we'll see how easy it is to enhance UI and UX with the help of Bootstrap. So this is actually the 9th video in a Django HTMX and Bootstrap learning series. But don't worry, you don't have to watch the whole thing. You can just watch this video as a standalone video and learn many cool things. If you want to follow along, I have left a link to the GitHub repo with the code from where we left off in the description. Either way, let me show you what we're working with. So our coding adventure has been quite packed. We've obviously created a Django project, and inside it we have two apps, the Movies app and the Users app. And the Movies app has logic for our landing page, which, as you can see through it, you can browse movies by category and search for movies. For example, let's search for movies with the pandas word in it because I love pandas. Okay, so as you can see, we have a detailed page, and right now I feel like we should edit it a bit, like maybe perhaps make the poster smaller or something. And of course, we want to make it so that users could add movies to the lists that they could create in the Users Hub. Should also make it so our users can see the lists they've made and choose a list to add the movie to. So let's find our movie detail template. It's gonna be in the Movies app inside the templates directory. Here it is. Okay, so we said that the image was too big, so let's give the div containing it the class column medium 4. Let's refresh. It's much better. So we also said that we would like to have the users view their lists and choose a list to add the movie to. So let's make sure that lists only show up to authenticated users. We can check if user is authenticated, and when we use if, we have to use end if. Also, we want to check if the user has lists. By the way, for the lists to show at all, we're going to need to add them to our movie details views context dictionary. Anyways, like we were saying, we want to check if user lists. And let's also add end if. Okay, so if users lists, we're going to create a for loop and show the lists one at a time. So for list in user lists, of course we should add an end for. Okay, so right now I'm just going to add a placeholder for the lists. I'll just have each of them be in a paragraph element. Of course, that's just for now. If the user doesn't have any lists, we also want to tell them. So let's add else and maybe have a paragraph element say you do not have any lists. Okay, let's see how that looks. Okay, cool. Maybe we could add an h5 element that says add to list over here. And maybe we could add an anchor element here to give the user the option of creating a list. Maybe it could say create a list, and it should redirect the user to profile. Okay, now let's refresh. Nice. Okay, now let's click on create a list. It works perfectly. Okay, so like we said, we need to pass the user lists through the view. So let's go to our view and let's import the user list model from modals.py in our users app so that we can make queries. So from users.modals, we want to import user list. Okay, so we want to fetch the user's lists if the user is authenticated. So let's create variable user lists and set it to user list dot objects dot filter, and we want to filter by user. So set user to request dot user. If request dot user is authenticated, else we want to return none. All right, and now let's go down to the context dictionary and pass user lists, and let's set it to user lists. Okay, let's refresh. Yay, here are our lists. Cool. I feel like displaying our lists in a drop-down like that would be a wonderful idea. What do you guys think? Anyways, I'll be copying some code from here. So I'll copy all of this code and put it above the for loop. And I will put each of our lists in a list element like this. I'm just copying and pasting. List.name actually. Okay, now let's refresh. Okay, let's have this button say add to list. Let's refresh. Nice. Yay, they show. Very cool. Let's make it button primary. All right, now let's refresh. Nice. So we want to make it so that when a user clicks on a list, the movie there on the detail page of, in this case it's Panda Plan, gets added to that list and they get a confirmation if it's added. However, if there's a problem, the user should also get notified that the movie was not added. So let's go back to views.py and define add to list view. Now we have views.py in our movie app open, but we want to open views.py in our users app because so far we have been using it to handle everything related to authenticated users. Let's start defining add to list view, and it will take request, it will take movie ID, and we also want to add the movie name. So movie name, and of course we're going to need the list ID so that we can add the movie to the correct list. Okay, so first we need to get a hold of the list we'll be adding the movie to. Let's set list, or actually user list. I'm going to copy this line and paste it. So what getObject404 does, as you probably already know, is it's going to search for an object in user lists table with the ID matching the list ID and user matching the current user, the currently active user. Speaking of users, let's add the login required decorator. I'm gonna copy and paste. Before we add a movie to a list, we want to make sure it's not already in the list. So to do this, we're going to need to first import list item, which, as you know, represents movies in our database. So a list item is basically a movie item. Now, let's check. If list item dot objects dot filter, we want to check if there is a movie with the movie ID being passed already. Actually, let me open models.py. Yes, so we want to check if there's a movie with movie ID already in this list. So let's set movie ID to movie ID and list to user list. Okay, to check if one exists, all we gotta do is just add exists. Exists will return true if there is a list item with these conditions. Okay, now if that's the case, then we probably want to deliver a message to the user and tell them that the movie was not added, right? But how should we do that? We could use a modal again, or we could use toast, right? Yeah, like something like that. Anyhow, we'll show a message in that toast. So let's set message to movie is already in the list. Or if we wanted to, we can make it an F string and make it movie name is already in user list. And that way the user will see the movie name and the list's name. If the movie doesn't already exist in the list, then we want to create a movie item in the list. So list item dot objects dot create, and we want to create an item with the movie ID set to the past in movie ID and the movie name set to the past in movie name and list set to user list. Okay, then we want to give our user feedback. So let's set message to movie name was added to user lists. Okay, now how about we create a partial? So let's go to our templates directory, and inside the users directory, let's create a new folder and call it toasts. And then let's create a new file for our toast. Let's call it confirmation toast.html. Now let's go to Bootstrap docs again, and I'm going to choose a toast I like. I like the colored one, and we can pass the color we want from our view as a variable if you wanted to. I like this one because I feel like the colors are nice and indicative. So I'm going to copy it to clipboard and I'm going to paste it. And over here, I would like the message we're going to pass to show. And to change the color according to whether it's a success or a failure, we could make the background color dynamic and pass in status like this. Now we can go to views.py and let's create status variable. And if it's a fail, then let's set it to danger, because danger would be red in Bootstrap. And if it's a success, let's set status to success. Okay, and now let's write our return statement. So I'm gonna copy the return statement from another view and just paste it. Okay, the path to our template is users/toast/confirmation toast.html, and we want to pass message as well and also status. Bootstrap toasts need to be triggered. Doing that is very easy. So let's add a script tag. We'll be writing one line of JavaScript to trigger the toasts. First, we want to get all the elements with the class toast. Document dot query selector all toast. Then for each, we want to create a new Bootstrap instance for each toast element. So new Bootstrap dot toast and then dot show. Now I'm very excited to see if this works, but first we need to go to urls.py and map our view, our add to list view. So let's import it. And now let's add a comma path, and let's make the endpoint lists slash the list ID, which is gonna be an integer, int list ID. Let's add slash add. And we're also gonna need the movie ID, which is also gonna be an int. So int movie ID. And we're gonna need the movie name, which is gonna be a string. So string movie name. Okay, now let's pass our view add to list, and let's give this endpoint a name. Let's call it add to list. Okay, so right now we have the add to list drop-down menu in our movie detail page, but it does nothing. So let's make it do something. We're back in movie detail.html. Here's the for loop where we loop through the lists. I am going to change this anchor element into a button with the type submit. And I'm going to put that inside a form element, and I hope it's not going to change how our drop down looks. So let's check if anything looks weird. No, looks like it looks fine. Okay, so now let's set the method to post. We'll use HTMX, so let's use hx post and set it to add to list. Okay, and we're gonna need to pass a bunch of things. First of which is list ID. So let's set it to list.id. Next, we need to pass the movie ID. So let's set it to movie.id. Next up, we need to pass movie name. Okay, so let's set it to movie.title. Okay, and we want this post request to be triggered when we click. HTMX has HX trigger that you can set to click. I'm going to copy this from the docs and paste it. So that would cause our post request to be triggered when we click on this element, which is the button. Okay, so we're going to want to show our toast, right? So let's create a place for it to go. How about we put it down here, maybe, and if we don't like it, we can change its location later. So let's create a div with the ID toast container, and now let's set hx target to hash toast container, and we'll be using hx swap I'm thinking we can set it to beforeend for now. Beforeend inserts the response after the last child of the target element. I feel like this would be cool because we don't want to remove the other toasts when a new one appears. Okay, finally, let's not forget to add CSRF token since we are making a post request. And now let's go back to our site. You know what? Let's go back to the panda movie. It looks funny and I want to watch it, and I love Jackie Chan and pandas. So let's add it to funny movies. Let's try to add it and see what happens. Okay, our modal is down here. Here it is. Here it is. Okay, so it's not where I thought it would end up, but it's working. It worked. Okay, if we want to check if our movie was added to funny movies, we can go to admin and check funny movies. Yay! There it is. Okay, let's try to fix the position of our toast. So to the toast container, I'm going to add class position fixed. And then I'm going to go to Bootstrap toast docs, and I feel like bottom right would be nice. So I'm gonna copy it, copy the classes that should position our toast in the bottom right, and I'm just going to paste them and maybe add margin 4. Okie dokie. Now let's go back to our view and refresh. Okay, so this time we're going to try to add panda plan again. So if all works the way it's supposed to, we are supposed to see a red toast that says the movie is already in the list or something like that. So let's try funny movies. Yes! Very good. It works the way it's supposed to. Panda Plan is already in funny movies. Yay! Now let's try to add Panda Plan to a different list. Let's try to add it to watched movies, although I haven't watched it yet. Let's try. Oh, nice. Panda Plan was added to watched movies. Cool. And we can dismiss the toasts. That's nice. Okay, now if we wanted to, we could go to watched movies. Yes, Panda Plan is in it. Yay! Awesome job following along. If you have any questions, type them down and leave them in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer as soon as I can. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, please don't forget to subscribe, and see you in the next video where we'll be adding more features to our websites and learning more cool things. Bye!